So over the weekend, Marvel officially announced a project that we have been covering here at HDN for a while now, since we first learned that Marvel Studios was producing what was always termed to be a Halloween special. And from the very earliest reports that surfaced at the Wrap, it was termed a Halloween special that was a werewolf themed special, and it was always rumored to be an adaptation of the comic book series Werewolf by Night, which is, of course, Marvel's spin on the classic Wolfman tale. Well, over the weekend at Disney's annual, well, I guess it's not annual, over the weekend at Disney's D23 Expo event, one of the coolest things to come out of that whole event, probably the coolest thing, is the official trailer and confirmation that yes, this secret project is in fact Werewolf by Night, and even better, we got the release date, and it is going to premiere on Disney Plus on October 7th. Another one to add to your viewing schedule. This trailer looks awesome, and it is presented in such a retro, fun way that it just, we have to talk about it here on Halloween Daily News. Now, there's nothing in the trailer that specifically indicates that the plot of the film itself takes place on or around October 31st. There's also nothing in it that says it doesn't take place on or around Halloween. But the very first words of the awesomely vintage-sounding narration are the words, "This Halloween." So Marvel and Disney clearly leaning into the Halloween presentation of it all, and this will absolutely be part of Disney and Marvel's big push for this October's Halloween streaming programming block on Disney Plus. So, we also got this awesome poster, which again, retro-tastic, right? I mean, it's very simple, very throwback, but I dig it. It's got our leading man there, and a shadow of a werewolf lurking behind him. Again, very simple concept, but very effective. And it just accomplishes exactly what they want here. The new official synopsis for Werewolf by Night. On a dark and somber night, a secret cabal of monster hunters emerge from the shadows and gather at the foreboding Bloodstone Temple following the death of their leader. In a strange and macabre memorial to the leader's life, the attendees are thrust into a mysterious and deadly competition for a powerful relic, a hunt that will ultimately bring them face to face with a dangerous monster. And this description here on Disney Plus even goes on to say that this is inspired by horror films of the 1930s and 40s, and that the chilling special aims to evoke a sense of dread and the macabre, with plenty of suspense and scares along the way as it explores a new corner of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In other words, everything we want from Werewolf by Night. So it opens with this completely retro intro that says it's a Marvel Studios special presentation. Again, setting it aside from a series or a limited series or a original film or a documentary, this is a special presentation. Fingers crossed that we get these special presentations every October, and they're always featuring some of these darker, really cool, supernatural, horror-themed characters like Werewolf by Night. And those of you in your mid to late 40s like myself, I mean, you're going to immediately feel like this is one of those made-for-TV special movies that would air on network TV in the late 70s or 80s with intros from ABC or NBC or whatever, very similar to this. This is Marvel's Disney Plus version. But then they go even further back with the retro vibes because it gets black and white all of a sudden. We can hear the cracking and the popping of what sounds like analog film, and we have this narrator come on. Again, the first words out of his mouth are "this Halloween." So great to see Disney and Marvel leaning in to the holiday aspect of it all. No telling if this story will take place on or around Halloween itself, but like I said, it's clearly part of the Disney Halloween programming event for 2022.
You can't escape.
The voice says you can't escape as we get this quick shot. Not sure who this is here. I mean, it looks almost like some druids, dudes in robes, and but then it looks like some military guys further back behind them. So not clear what's going on here, but this is just the tip of the iceberg for this trailer because it is full of things that we have no idea what's going on. But immediately you get the feeling that they are paying homage here, not so much to the 70s and 80s TV specials of the week, like that intro feels like. No, that's what that's doing. But this trailer, at least, is very much paying homage to the classic Universal Studios horror films of the 1930s and 40s. Films like Bela Lugosi as Dracula, Boris Karloff as Frankenstein, and Lon Chaney Jr. of course, as the Wolfman, which this would, I think anybody would agree, this owes, just a tad bit of lineage to.
The shock, the terror of Werewolf by Night.
And I love this this title font here. Again, the way it's presented coming off the screen right there. It's very throwback to those original Universal horror movies that really came to define what a horror movie was back then. And there's not even any clear indication that this is exactly how this film is going to look, but they do say in the official synopsis that it is inspired by those films of the 30s and 40s, and all of this nails that completely, right down to this font and this presentation of the title card.
Tonight, it is every hunter for themselves.
Good luck.
Now, I'm pretty sure that is the deceased head of this mysterious manor that they've all been summoned to, the Bloodstone Manor. And I believe his name is Ulysses Bloodstone, from what I understand. Again, I've not read the comics that this is based on, but from our research and other reports, that's what we understand. I love the animatronic look and what I would say is a not so subtle nod to Frankenstein there a bit. And here we get our first look here. There is Gael there. He is our lead, who we can presume will inevitably be turning into a werewolf momentarily. And so they've all been summoned here
Good luck. I'll be
for some kind of monster hunting game. But it's stated that one of them actually is a monster. Now here's Laura Donnelly. She was rumored early on to be playing a character that would become a vampire by night. But what I've been hearing now is that the popular theory is that she's actually playing a monster hunter character named Elsa Bloodstone.
Masquerading as one of our own. I can't wait to find out what breed of evil you are.
And here we start getting a little bit of tease of the wolf itself. And some of these effects that you're going to see, just simple lighting effects, simple old school camera tricks, nothing real fancy here. The black and white of it all This was directed by Michael Giacchino, who, he's also a composer, and he recently composed the soundtracks to this year's movie, The Batman, highly recommended, as well as one of last year's best movies, and just one of the best movies ever, Spider-Man No Way Home. And yeah, I mean, the fun that he's having here, using some of the tricks from those old school films in this tribute to those very films. And if they're not literally doing it in camera, but digitizing it to make it look like they're doing it in camera, well then, again, props to them for pulling that off. But I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like Giacchino is inventive and into this enough that he's actually doing this in camera, a lot of these tricks. And a lot of it is just so low budget, lo-fi anyway, and that's part of the almost B-movie charm of it that they're playing up to in this trailer. I saw a lot of people call it a grindhouse type trailer, which I guess you can kind of get that. You get the popping, you get the cigarette burns on the frame sometimes, but it's really more of almost like the B movies that weren't quite the Universal Studios top tier, but were of that era and were still made with all that passion and love for the genre that it was at the time still kind of inventing, because it was very much in its own infancy. I mean, the music here, paying homage to Psycho, it sounds like. Again, we're getting some military presence here, it looks like, right there. I'm not going to go too far into speculation on what that could mean. Like I said earlier, there's no telling in this trailer where or when this takes place regarding the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe. The only clue that it even takes place within it is in that synopsis, that final statement that it is a new corner of the MCU. But very much like Moon Knight, I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't really make much, if any, reference to the larger MCU. And here is a hand and arm getting chopped off and some blood spraying and glorious black and white special effects. And here is our first real glimpse of the title character, Werewolf by Night. And let me just comment here on the look of this werewolf, because I love it. Just like the whole flavor of this trailer, it is a throwback to those classic black and white films of the 30s and 40s. Those very first Wolfman themed movies. And his look is I think, meant to harken back to that, but I would say it reminds me the most, actually, not of the classic Lon Chaney Jr. Wolfman, but of the 2010 Wolfman, portrayed by Benicio del Toro and directed by Joe Johnston, also released by Universal. It's an awesome reboot, reimagining, remake, if you will, of that classic Wolfman movie. I'm a huge fan of the 2010 Wolfman, and this look kind of is a throwback to that to me, but I love it. I mean, he is hairy and gnarly, and here we have, again, what looks like a modern police officer, almost, it appears, trying to bring down this werewolf character. So, this some clue that not is all of this is not as it seems. All of this is not necessarily taking place decades ago, even though the way this trailer is presented makes it seem that way. And again, there's no guarantee that the film itself is even going to be in black and white or have this exact same tone, other than that synopsis that clearly acknowledges that it is 100% inspired by those classic horror films of the 30s and 40s. But I love the look of the werewolf right here. And I love that we don't get too much of him, but, you could go back and freeze frame. There are some fun, quick glimpses, all of which, again, is just very simple lighting effects, nothing too flashy. and just setting up what I think is going to be one of the funnest things Marvel has done in a long time.
Please don't do this. Death is coming for you!
And we get some interesting footage here. Again, these military guys. If you've seen the Loki series, you might have a clue of who they may or may not be. They look a little bit familiar to some of the agents in that series. No spoilers if you haven't seen that, but let me go back to this image though right here, because while it happens very fast in this trailer, this image right here is so key and so damn awesome. That is in fact the iconic Marvel Comics character Man-Thing. He is featured in this story. Of course, they're going to set up Man-Thing in a story like this where they're referencing werewolves and seemingly undead characters of all sorts, opening up the world to vampires. We know there's a Blade movie in development. It's coming soon. The Blade character has been teased in a prior film already, The Eternals. So all of this is going to take shape in the films eventually. I have no doubt that Moon Knight character, already introduced in his own series on Disney Plus, will cross over with this Werewolf by Night character and some of the other characters introduced here, if not in this special eventually. In fact, the Moon Knight character debuted, as we've reported before, in an issue of Werewolf by Night in the comics world. But seeing the Man-Thing right here, this is just mind-boggling. He looks somewhat terrifying, very Cthulhu-ish, if you will. And a little bit of research on Man-Thing is a key thing to keep in mind with him. Apparently, and I didn't know this, but apparently he is the guardian of the Nexus Point, where all of the different universes throughout the Marvel multiverse, where they all converge, where they all intersect. He's the guardian of that. And going back to that Spider-Man movie, No Way Home, and some other Marvel properties, they've definitely opened the door in recent years to this idea that there are multiple universes where all things are possible and all different variations and variants of characters that we know and love and others that we have not yet met yet. So it looks like this is going to tie in to even that in the larger scale of the MCU. But I absolutely love this quick frame of Man-Thing. And again, I could just stare at it all day. It's terrifying, but he's almost like Snuffleupagus. You know what I mean? Like he's scary, but you also, you feel like you want to just kind of talk to him and get his story down. So I don't know exactly what all is going on here. I welcome your input. Many of you are probably much better experts on this title and these characters than I am, but very excited to see this, and it confirms at the very least that, yeah, I mean, this is going to open up doors to other iconic comic book characters from the dark side.
Werewolf by Night.
And again, I mean, the guy they got to narrate this is fittingly retro sounding. That font and the way it's just lifted a little bit off of the title page, all of that is just a sweet throwback to classic trailers. As somebody who's always loved going to the movies and loved the trailers before the movies, I mean, I love a good trailer, and this absolutely nails it, if you ask me. I mean, they hit all the right vibes, and it, the best thing about it is probably that it doesn't feel at all like anything else Marvel is doing or has done. And I think for what has always been described in all previous reports and what we've always termed as a Halloween special, something that they are specifically and purposefully airing in October, I think that is a very significant and a very smart move and very exciting, because again, maybe we'll get more of these special presentations, and maybe if they're always this cool. I mean, I don't know if it's Chiquino or the fact that it's Werewolf by Night or just the plans they have for the future. But like I said, if the actual presentation is nearly as awesome as this amazing trailer, then I'm just going to be so happy. As you can see here, it is revealed in this trailer officially that Werewolf by Night will begin streaming on Disney Plus on October 7th.
Night.
And we get a final little shot here. Again, some of these images, just classic little throwback shots. You see what appears to be a man very possibly transforming into very probably a werewolf. But you don't see him. You see his shadow. You see the lightning flashing. You see his silhouette. And in classic horror film fashion, it's not about what you see, it's what you don't see. What we're seeing is Laura Donnelly's character's reaction to what she is witnessing, this transformation. Also very interesting that these military dudes in the background, they're not reacting to any of it. They could give a shit about all of this. They're clearly not having any of this. But yeah, she is in absolute terror. And maybe it'll be her character that they set up. Again, from what I understand, Elsa Bloodstone, if in fact that is who she's playing, is a monster hunter character. So maybe, it'll be her character that will bring these various monster heroes, I'll call them, together. I would imagine probably around the time of that Blade movie's release. And even just the framing of this, having it all in black and white, the sound effects that they're using. If you look at the control boards in the background, other than those military guys, which don't really kind of fit the retro vibe of everything else, they don't really seem retro like the rest of this. But those controls in the background do seem very retro, almost like a 1930s or 40s version of what they would think a futuristic lab might be. And, the bars, just the classic motif of the caged beast trying to break out. And, again, just doing it all very effectively with silhouette here, teasing out what she is seeing and what we can't see, but we can imagine, thanks to her awesome acting in fear here, these awesome fear emotions, and just the editing. So, again, perfect way to cap off an amazing trailer. And I love how it freeze frames right here. This is very Grindhouse-esque. Tarantino, I imagine, loves this part, and it even goes into the frame bleeding, like the old film would just bleed out at the end sometimes, as you'll see right here. But just amazing. I mean, like I said, this is Marvel Studios having a blast with a property that, we've not seen in live action. Same goes for Man-Thing. They are diving into a genre that is not the superhero genre that they are so known for. And yes, I do think all this will eventually cross over, but I hope they kind of keep these monster heroes, if you will, maybe in their own kind of dark corner of the MCU, as it says in that synopsis. But that's what I got from this. Obviously, I am super stoked. It does say that they all gather on one particular night. It'd be nice if that night turns out to be actually October 31st. But either way, this looks like it's going to be ideal Halloween time viewing, and I'll absolutely be watching it on premiere night, October 7th on Disney Plus. Let me know your thoughts on this trailer. Let me know what I missed about the trailer. And let me know your feelings on this Werewolf by Night special presentation for Halloween 2022 from Marvel Studios. I can't wait to hear from you in the comments below.